Hey, what's going on YouTube? So today I'm going to bring you the Carolina Panthers and some of the things that, well, we have to take note of, and that's actually Matthew Stafford being traded to the Carolina Panthers from the Browns. One of the things that we do have to take a note here is that he's going to bring about maybe 1,800 plus passing yards plus an extra 12 touchdowns. Now, if you see my last video, I compared him to Sam Darnold. And tell you the truth, there is no quarterback competition. Baker Mayfield has won the quarterback battle walking into the door. So there's no worry about that, who's going to start. One of the issues moving forward for Baker Mayfield is the season ahead. And I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to go to their opponents. Now, everything in orange are teams that are going to be tough to beat. And as you can see, you have a lot of tough games this season for the Carolina Panthers. Can they make something happen? Maybe that's one of the reasons why they traded for Baker Mayfield, so they can have a decent season. And I have to say, like with the Baker Mayfield, they will have a decent season, especially with him producing the way he did in his past seasons. As long as he has protection, he should be good to go. And let's run down the list. I mean, obviously you have the Browns defense and a really good running game, but they're going to be more conservative in the passing game. The Arizona Cardinals, the San Francisco 49ers, the Rams, the Bengals. Yeah, the Bengals. The Ravens, Denver Broncos, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, just a key note, another keynote is the Tampa Bay Bucks and the New Orleans Saints. So we're looking at those two teams. Those two teams are going to be tough as well. And those two teams are in their division. So those games are like 50-50. In my opinion, like I think divisional opponents are more likely to get beat because they play against each other. They know each other's schemes a lot more than a team that they're facing for the first time in, the last 2 years or whatnot, just for a regular season game. So with that being said, let's get into a good number for the Carolina Panthers. Now, with everything added, I did my best to try to add these 12 touchdowns into these totals, and as well as I had to compare the Browns to the Carolina Panthers as far as defense and as far as talent go. And with Baker Mayfield on the Carolina Panthers, I think the Browns defense may be a smidge better. Actually, they're going to be a lot better on paper. I know on paper it's a blowout, but me looking at the Carolina Panthers team and the injuries they had last year, I'm expecting this team to be a little different this year, more defensive. Actually, they should have more better defense, should I say, going into the future. And they did draft some pieces. They got some O-line pieces that they needed. And if they do pick up a couple other guys from free agency, I think they're going to have a decent team, a decent squad. And actually, I was huge on the Carolina Panthers. I thought they were just a quarterback away. And this may be a season where they're going to show us what they're going to do. So with that gauntlet schedule they have going forward, we can definitely look at this team to make a little run. But now, well, let's look at it. What are we looking at here? Four. I'm gonna give them a 4 going into the season for a spread number, and 48.5. Like that's the middle number right now. As you can see, they're under that total. And that 4, that's a +4, by the way. So they need at least +4 for me to make a legitimate bet on them. And that depends on the team that they play. Also, it depends on the game ahead. So I'm getting those key factors down right away before I make any kind of bets. And I'm going to go over each season individually. Also, another note, this might be the season where we're going to do, or where I'm going to do a lot of middling for these NFL games. this may be a season where we have a lot of talent that's fairly similar that's going to perform. And I don't know, we just have to take it from there. But as you can see in red here, I kind of marked all the teams I'm expecting to be last in their division. And if you just look around here it's kind of like a toss-up. I'm gearing more towards the Chargers in the AFC West, only because of the injury history they have. They had a lot of injuries, and I'm expecting that to happen. Derek Carr just been balling the last couple of seasons with no wide receiver, and you got Devontae Adams. And this right here is either Houston or Jacksonville. I do like what Houston doing. Jacksonville, the potential in Jacksonville is huge. Tennessee probably gonna take a hit. They're definitely gonna drop down here, probably right under Indiana. But let's get into the numbers and totals going forward. So now the Carolina Panthers. Who are the Carolina Panthers this year? Well, let's take a look. They're gonna need at least +4. We've seen the schedule already. The schedule is tough. So +4 should be a good number going into the future. We factoring the schedule with a whole bunch of tough opponents. And as far as a total, I'm going to do, because Baker Mayfield could put up some touchdowns. I want to say 48.5 to the under. 48.5. Now, this number, I'm going to work on it because it's hard to determine the contribution that Baker Mayfield's like. He's contributing 12 extra touchdowns, but where are those touchdowns going to come? In certain games they're going to be better than certain teams. So what I broke it down is, all right, all the close games, as you can see, got 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. If you include those -8 games they lost last year without Baker Mayfield, that's 6 potential games they can win this year. But who are the opponents? And these opponents are under 500. And as we can see going forward in this season, again, you have to bring up the schedule. They face a lot of tough opponents. So we're just going to have to look at these Cardinals. I'm going to have to go through this with a fine-tooth comb and look to see what edge, or if there is an edge, of a team that they can beat or come within that +4.5. So moving forward, I'm going to go with a 48.5. And I'm just going to, that's going to be my base number. And I'm going to gear more towards the under when they're playing tough teams. But as we see, all these teams now, Kyle Murray wasn't into this game. Not into it, but he was not in this game. Also, we have the Houston Texans here. They were terrible last year, especially New York. New York was terrible, so them winning those games are not surprising. The New Orleans and the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons was terrible, but they wasn't bad because they had Matt Ryan. This year they don't have Matt Ryan, and that defense is just terrible. Also, you have the New Orleans Saints, and with the Saints, that was just a divisional game. Like I said, with divisional opponents, I'm expecting divisional teams to win against each other more often than not. So leading into the losses, as we have the Dallas Cowboys that lost them with -8. Now with Baker, that might be a little different. That probably would have been a lot closer than 8 points. And that's what I'm looking at, games that can be closer. And I kind of factored that into the spread as well. Also going down here, we're looking at, we're just looking at edges and advantages. So we're seeing what the Carolina Panthers has done without Baker Mayfield, and we're going to see what they can improve on, like certain games. Like for instance, this Buffalo Bills game, right? They only got -17 with the Buffalo Bills, and I'm sure the Bills could have blown them out. So with that being said, if Baker Mayfield was in there, is it more of a competitive game? Is that totals going to be close, or is it not? So what it boils down to is the offensive line for Carolina. The offensive line can protect them. Also, it's a more of a balanced team. If Christian McCaffrey's in there, that's a completely different team. That's going to be a tough team to beat, and if Christian McCaffrey is healthy. So, man, the Carolina Panthers have a lot of potential going forward with their wide receivers are okay. They got decent wide receivers. Uh, the defense, I'm really high on the defense. I think they got some really good pieces on the defensive side. Some tall corners, which is going to be hard to throw on. And they're going to get a couple of locks. And I tell you what, that defense is something, definitely something to take in consideration going forward. But I like this +4. I think that's a good number for Carolina just to start. And we're going to see how they're producing later on in the season. Once the chemistry start coming together, I'm expecting that to be a better, I'm expecting a better number, maybe even going down. So I'm expecting them to go down. So -3.5, -3. That may be the number, but +4 is a good number. 48.5 to the under at the moment. Now I'm not going into the season with this set in stone. Now these numbers, everything is flexible because of the probability. So again, we really don't have much information. Baker Mayfield is a new variable on this team, and that's a huge variable. So we have to be on the conservative side because we're dealing with, a bankroll, and we don't want to make any outlandish bets. So I'm just going to be conservative moving forward. Now let's talk about the opponents. Obviously, you have the Cleveland Browns. Are the Cleveland Browns better or worse without Baker Mayfield right now? They're worse. The only thing they have is a defense and a running game. And if they can't really throw it deep, that running game is going to get stuffed up because they're going to put 8 in the box and just stop the Browns. So the Giants are obviously, they're going to be terrible, but they have a look-ahead game. So the Giants may squeeze a win out of this point, or this game may be to the under, depending. Arizona Cardinals without D Hopkins. We have San Francisco 49ers going forward. I like that game to go over. 49ers. I do like this 49ers team. They play at San Francisco, so or no, they play this. Oh, actually, Carolina Panthers have the advantage because this is actually a home game. Excuse me. So what time did it start? 4:15, huh? I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting one. It's gonna be a good one. I think that game's gonna be close. The Rams, yeah, I got the Rams winning that one. Tampa Bay Bucks. Oh, that's a look ahead game. So Rams winning that one. I'm gonna give the Rams +10 with that game. The Rams +10. Definitely have to do a Carolina Panthers with a +10 if the Carolina Panthers are going to face the Rams, face that team. Tampa Bay Bucks, obviously divisional game. Atlanta Falcons, another divisional game. So they probably want to beat the Bucks and just try to work their way with this Atlanta Falcons team. Cincinnati Bengals, that's a sandwich game. Bengals probably going to win that because they have to face the Falcons again. So that's interesting. Then you have Baltimore, the Broncos, 2 tough games, leading into a bye. After this schedule, I'm sure they're going to be looking forward to this bye, and I'm looking at the Broncos to win that game by a lot. Also, they come back to an easy game, Seattle. I'm looking at Carolina Panthers to win that one. Then you have to face Pittsburgh. That's going to be to the under. I'm gearing more towards the under, depending on the number. Detroit Lions, Tampa Bay Bucks, and New Orleans Saints to end it off. So moving forward, I'm definitely expecting a +4 for him. Baker Mayfield is still going to have a tough season because of the schedule, and we have to remember Baker Mayfield is coming from a tough division with really 2 good top 10 head coaches, and Jim Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin. So with that being said, and these 2 coaches had the top 10 defenses in the last 10 years. So he's coming from a really tough division, and I'm expecting big things out of Baker. Well, let's just say I'm putting things in perspective. I think he should be doing a lot better, not having to face these defenses twice a year. So, like, subscribe, share. Tell me what you think in the comments if you want. But that's what I have for the number for the Carolina Panthers moving forward and the Baker Mayfield issue. And again, like I said, these games, I'm probably going to be middling a lot of these games because there are so many teams that are very, very, very similar that will even the level or even the playing field, should I say. But like, subscribe, share, and most importantly, bet wisely.